One of the themes of the pandemic has been shutting down all dissenting voices. We know plenty of high-profile individuals and organisations that have been deplatformed by Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. However, in Britain, we do mercifully still have a free press. Networks like this one, GBNews, and brilliant newspapers like The Mail and The Telegraph in particular have called out much of the COVID madness over the last year and a half, and I salute them. No such luck in New Zealand, where St Jacinda Ardern, the holier-than-thou Prime Minister of New Zealand, has hosted a press conference which was about as conducive to open debate as an audience with Kim Jong-un. Check this out.
And what I'd say is that we're all actually completely on the same page when it comes to driving vaccinations and making sure that we're doing everything that we can to reach people that we need to. This is an issue of. This is an issue.
Not working in Israel,
sir. I'm going to ask. I'm going to answer the questions of the accredited media.
Also in the UK.
Sir, I will shut down the press conference if you do not cease.
It's rude to lie.
Sorry, to our accredited members of the gallery here, we might move to an inside venue. Unfortunately, we've got someone who's disrupting your press conference today, so we might reconvene. Thank you.
There shall be no dissent. Accredited press only, asking accredited questions for which the public will receive accredited answers. I'm horrified by what has happened to this once freedom-loving and truly great nation. Here is St Jacinda happily acknowledging that she has reintroduced apartheid to a Western nation.
So you basically see this is going to be like, well, it's almost like, you probably don't see it like this, the two different classes of people. If you're vaccinated or if you're unvaccinated, you have all these rights. If you are vaccinated...
That is what it is, so yep.
St Jacinda, the Kiwi Mussolini. COVID has turned so many supposedly democratic leaders into out-of-control dictators whose power base is driven by the hellish ideology of zero COVID. But you wait, because the pursuit of net zero will further embolden those who rule over us to control our lives. Net zero will make the pandemic look like the Queen's garden party. You have been warned. Another day, another great artist is attacked by a woke institution. William Hogarth is one of our greatest 18th century artists. Famous for his satirical portraits of drunken Londoners and a permissive, indulgent society, this guy was an absolute legend. Part cartoon, part social commentary, part artistic genius. Students and art lovers alike have for decades drawn upon these images for entertainment, amusement, and an authentic, compelling portrait of a moment in our past. But now the art gallery that houses this amazing work has decided that it's got to be criticised, demonised and apologised for. A new exhibition has suggested that his pictures, far from being satirical genius, are in fact no laughing matter, because their subjects are drunk on the spoils of slavery. God forbid that these joyless censors should have a sense of humour. There will be no levity, no wit, no smiling or laughter in the new Republic of Woke. These people want to censor great treasures because they think you cannot be trusted with this dangerous material. Material which has inspired and enthused generation after generation, and which is now too hot to handle for the thick and intolerant common man. Now, you need to be taught, according to these people. You need to be lectured, and you will learn. For God's sake, it's an art gallery, not a bloody primary school. That's the point. These academics and these censorious institutions are signed up to an extremist, politically correct ideology and are essentially out to destroy these great artists and their great works. There's no way that Hogarth would get a gig as an artist in 2021 with these bullies around. The only thing that stops this man being cancelled altogether is history. The likes of J.K. Rowling, Ricky Gervais and comedian Dave Chappelle are too rich and powerful to be cancelled. Well, Hogarth is too old, too suffused in our culture to be cancelled, and thank God for that. But it doesn't stop these thugs diluting the legacy of so many of our great artists. Don't forget the Globe Theatre, which was lovingly built to celebrate the work of Shakespeare, the greatest writer of plays in all human history. The Globe have set about the task of decolonising Shakespeare, weeding out passages from King Lear, Macbeth and Romeo and Juliet which are problematic. Decolonising Shakespeare is going to be very difficult for them, given that Shakespeare existed before the colonial era began. But there is no logic to this frothing, swivel-eyed fundamentalism. What right does this generation have to touch any artistic works of the past? I think the Globe Theatre should be ashamed of themselves for daring to touch a syllable of Shakespeare. Frankly, they should house Shakespeare at a venue where his work is actually appreciated. Maybe they should just tear down the Globe Theatre and replace it with a Tesco's. Maybe one of those nice big ones. You know, the ones that sell socks, kettles and potted plants. God, I could spend hours in one of those places. Paperback books, frying pans, underwear, living the dream. So how dare these people impose their narrow, politicised, moralising judgment on Shakespeare, Hogarth, or even the Rolling Stones for that matter? The Stones have had to take Brown Sugar off their playlist and will never sing it again live. This is mad. Music enjoyed by every race, creed and colour on the planet for decades is being cancelled now. How is that progress? And there are libraries in America removing problematic books. What the hell is a problematic book? Any book worth its salt is problematic, sparking a debate, stimulating the reader, and furthering human knowledge. Here's the point. History decides what we look at, what we exhibit, and what we learn from. William Hogarth is long dead and not in a position to protect his work and decide how it's presented. If he were alive, he would understandably withdraw his work from this particular gallery. Do you think that Damien Hirst would put up with some stupid disclaimer about animal rights next to his pickled shark? There it is, an amazing piece of work, but you'd probably get cancelled for that now. He'd probably take his famous stuffed sheep, and there it is, and he would tell the censors to get stuffed. It's profoundly wrong and damaging to politicise the way that any artwork is presented. Art doesn't need a disclaimer, an apology or an explanation. Charlie Chaplin hated doing interviews. He said, if you want to understand me, watch my movies. And that's the same for all great artists. All you need for Hogarth, Van Gogh, Constable, Tracy Emin and Damien Hirst is the title of the piece and the year it was created. The rest is up to the viewer. The relationship between the artist and the person beholding their work is a sacred one, and it doesn't need a middleman to help you interpret it. What we're dealing with here, and it's a problem in universities and other public institutions like the National Trust, is a privileged cadre of Britain-hating elitists. And frankly, it's the woke Taliban who are attacking and eroding our culture who should be in a museum.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.